Just waiting notification. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us tonight, one who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the world-renowned fighter, martial artist, trainer of men, and a great brother to myself and my family and to many people, but specifically, he always holds a place in my heart because of the I like the people who can handle business but be very kind and humble. That means a lot to me as somebody, as opposed to, just acting, wearing it on their sleeve. That's none other than Sensei, Brother Richard Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
All praise due to Allah. We want to get straight into it. I've interviewed many martial artists and many teachers of different styles, but we want to get a comprehensive breakdown from someone who knows how to articulate it in a masterful way. The first thing we want to know is, I got to witness, you invited me probably four years ago?
Yes, sir.
Crazy, 4 years ago, to witness what is called a fight club. What is the fight club?
So fight club is not focused on a particular style. It's just an ideal of blending two systems together to focus on urban martial arts. For example, I came up in Okinawan karate, and I came up in a system called VSK Jiu-Jitsu that was developed here in the United States. So by putting those two together, there's one system focused on doing self-defense movement in kata, another system focused on the same thing, self-defense movement in kata, and also sport competition. I wanted to take both of those training concepts and put it as one training concept that can be used on the street or in a ring, if that's what you choose to do. But it wouldn't be a difference in training. Say, hey, I'm gonna train for a ring. Hey, I'm gonna train for a street. We're gonna have street training and just dial it down to fight in the tournament, if that's what you choose to do.
All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Now, my sister Miriam sends the greetings, and thank you everyone who's watching all across the country, and we can't wait to put this on YouTube. Speaking of my sister Miriam, her son, my nephew, Prince Maz, he's in martial arts, loves to fight. What age do you suggest children get into martial arts?
I believe they should start around the age 3 and 4. It's a lot of great programs in the Atlanta area, such as your nephew goes to Grandmaster Tony Young's dojo, correct?
Correct.
He's a great martial artist, great competitor. I've known Tony Young over 30 years. He used to come up to the Battle of Chicago. We'd come down to the Battle of Atlanta. And when I moved to Atlanta, he embraced me as his little brother and gave me free reign of his school. I'm able to work out with his black belts and his students. No questions asked. He's just a genuine, kind-hearted brother. I haven't met anybody that got a genuine spirit like this brother. He's a real good brother. So he's definitely in the right place. He's definitely in the right place.
Yes, sir. So you're saying 3 or 4? I didn't know that you were I mean, everybody, so it doesn't surprise me. Now, with me dealing with young men specifically in the training aspect, many of us have different styles of martial arts. I've come to see that maybe based off personality, based off of location and upbringing. How do you suggest that people choose which fight style they go into?
It's funny you asked that question. In the 80s and the 90s, when you competed in tournaments, I'm from the Midwest, so we had the thing called the Midwest Circuit. We can go to a tournament, and based on somebody's fighting style, we know what style they were in, if that makes sense. So if they was in the ring with headgear, hand pads, and they're fighting another competitor, based on the execution of movements, we know what style they were. If they was Hapkido, if they was Kung Fu, if they was Taekwondo, if they was Okinawan karate. And we was like, oh, wow. But now today, all the fighters train a certain way. So every fighting style looks the same. And that's the sport aspect of martial arts. So you really can't see the purity in if a guy came up in Kung Fu, if a guy came up in Shunryu or Shuri Goju, or even traditional Jiu-Jitsu and Judo. You don't see that anymore in the martial arts setting unless you're going to do maybe a kata division. And in a kata division, they have a thing called extreme martial arts. You really don't see that true traditional martial art in competition anymore. Now, there are still tournaments out there that exist that would give you that traditional concept, but the world has changed. In the last 15, 20 years, a lot of things has changed in the martial arts world. I don't want to bring tradition back. I want to keep the tradition alive. I want to keep it going.
Beautiful. Okay. Yes, sir. Now, the question I have for you, sir, is what about men and women? When I went to the fight club, from my understanding, I got sisters and just people who I've talked to. I just would want the training to be intense, as you know, based off
Okay.
regardless of the gender.
So what
How
what
how,
what
how would you
Fight
handle that
Club?
with the gender?
So what we focus on in Fight Club, there's no just differentiate in men and female.
Yes,
It's
sir. Yes, sir.
just fighting. We worked on boxing techniques. We work on ground techniques. We work on stand-up locks, everything that could be used in urban combat: stick, knife self-defense, gun self-defense. I have taken my class to the range before. I taught them how to do weapon self-defense on some private properties of the mosque as well, without ammo, of course, on the record. No ammo. So I believe that the students should know what a real firearm feels like, especially the weight of it, the way it sounds, the way it clicks, and when it can fire. I'm not saying that I'm the best person to teach you how to defend against a knife. The best defense against a gun, I should say, is to get out of dodge. You know, if you can prevent the whole situation, prevent it, diffuse it. You know, there's no Bruce Lee movies in real life. There's no John Claude Van Damme movies in real life. There's no Superman in real life. If somebody pull a firearm on you, it's a strong possibility they're going to pull a trigger, you're going to die. So you want to diffuse it as best way if you can. But if your back is against the wall and there's nothing to do, you need to have some type of idea what you can do to protect yourself. And that's what we focus on. We focus on a lot of urban combat. We had the title Fight Club because we blended two different martial arts systems. We didn't want to focus on going to tournaments, and we didn't want to focus on doing demonstrations. We really want to focus on hands-on fighting. So we got into a real life situation, leaving the dojo, leaving Walmart, leaving school, leaving the mosque, leaving our jobs, and we actually had to use it. Would it work, and we'll get home safe? That's what we focused on. The reason we did a lot of sparring, we put the gloves on, the headgear, the mouthpiece, and the foot pads on because we wanted the students to feel what it feels like to get hit. A lot of time you can go 4 or 5 years in a dojo without getting punched. Then you really don't know what a fight feels like until you get smacked in your face. And you wearing a black belt or you're a master level black belt, been in martial arts 15, 20 years, never been to a physical altercation or never got into a sparring situation in your dojo and never got contact, your body's going to react different once you get hit. So we want you to get hit day one. You know, we put everybody in the ring day one. You know, we go over basic drills. We don't allow you to punch and kick each other day one. It's the drills that I put together that we work on tapping your shoulder, tapping the knees, just like timing, working the body, working the ring, moving around, trying to get used to moving your body. So it's a growing concept when it comes to fighting. But I believe in martial arts, you have to be touched. I hope that answered the question.
Absolutely. And people are, Sister Khadija Crane says, yes, feeling the hits are key. And she's big in the martial arts. They train Snookus on the East Coast, holding it down with Professor, I'm going to butcher his name, but I interviewed him too, but another professor on the East Coast as well. What I wanted to ask you is, great, how can people sign up and can people train with you virtually, or do they have to be in person in Atlanta?
I want to do in-person instructions. We do have 2 platforms for our system, VSK Jiu-Jitsu, already set up by our teacher, Grandmaster Abdul Aziz, and his senior black belt student, Shihan Lemuel Muhammad. They both have virtual platforms that they teach throughout the country and throughout the world. I'm gonna leave that to them, and I will forward you the information so you can forward it on to your audience so they can take the classes or do the Zoom with Grandmaster Abdul Aziz, which is Anthony Muhammad. If everybody knows Grandmaster Anthony of VSK Jiu-Jitsu, he's a mighty, mighty, mighty incredible Grandmaster. He definitely earned his title as Grandmaster. It wasn't handed to him with $1. I'll say that. And Shihan Lemuel Muhammad has his platform as well, and he been under Grandmaster Anthony for over 30 years. So he's definitely well qualified to represent VSK throughout the world.
Excellent. Since Khadija said she remembers her first time her brother first got hit with Hui. Absolutely. Everybody remember the training, the original training, getting it in. Okay, your shirt. I see people wearing them. What we gotta do? How can we promote it? How can we do I have to, is it like if you gotta get jumped in? What we gotta do to wear the Fight Club shirts? What we gotta do?
Blood in, blood out. You already know.
Blood in, blood out. Yeah, what we gotta do?
All right, so we are promoting the Fight Club logo that's trademarked for any style of the martial arts can represent the shirt. because it's a brand. We represent it as a brand, not as a system. I don't want you to think if you wear a Fight Club shirt, you're a VSK student, you're a Shorin student, you're a Shuri Goju student. You're not that. You're just a true martial artist that really, really want to focus on making yourself better. Every day we should try to improve. Every day we should work on physical fitness. If you're a great boxer, you should work on your hand techniques, your foot techniques. If you're a great kicker, you should work on that. It's all about improvement. That's all Fight Club is about. It's making yourself a better fighter. So we are promoting a shirt. I have about 300 shirts left. We started out with 1,000. We're doing a fundraiser so we can get our own freestanding location here in Atlanta, so we can open up a dojo instead of renting spaces out. We still renting spaces. We still being nomads. We going to YMCAs. We going to boxing gyms. We going to other dojos. We going to backyards. We going to basements. It's time for us to get our own place.
Yes, sir. Okay, so well, I'm going to support on behalf of myself, my family, and the Viewing Artists and People's podcast. But where can we support all across the country once we put on YouTube? What is the Cash App, or like what's the process?
They can inbox me. My cell number is 708-269-0952. The Cash App is $ Fight Club ATL. And again, my cell number is 708-269-0952. My Facebook name is Rich VSK Muhammad, MUHAMMAD. The reason I got the VSK in there just to separate me from the other Richards. There's so many of us. So, but that's what we really, really, really here promoting in Atlanta. I can teach 4 different systems. I want to teach VSK. I want to keep it alive. 500 years from now, I want VSK to be still alive in the world. It's developed by Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad. He combined 3 systems from his 3 instructors. Professor V, that focus on the Philippine martial arts, which is a lot of stick, knife, and joint locks. Grandmaster Moses Powell. The snooker system looks like stand-up Aikido. Looks more like Steven Seagal, if you will. He's very, very amazing with his technique and execution. And of course, the legendary Soke Little John Davis of Kumite-Ryu Jiu-Jitsu. That's one of the greatest fighters in the world. It's a very powerful hitter, very powerful kicker. Every time I see him, I have to run from him because he likes to demonstrate a new technique that he developed or changed it or modified it and show me the power of it and how it hurts the body. And he likes me to feel it straight on. And I'm like, yes, okay, I have to go to the bathroom. I got to go in depth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
So combining those 3 systems together, it gives us an urban understanding of growing up on the south side of Chicago, the streets of New York, the streets of California. Those are things we need to know how to fight in the streets. We don't live in Okinawa anymore, or we don't ourselves as Black Americans. We don't live in China. So those concepts of the training that they undergo help them in that land, in that territory. VSK Jiu-Jitsu helps us in this land, in this territory, on how to help us protect ourselves and our family, and of course, our nation. So I really want to push this system in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Well, we got 2 quick questions for you before we go to our 60-second commercial break. Have you ever had to demonstrate fighting techniques to know the difference between getting touched or not touched, or are you saying that you're just a master in the dojo, and when you go outside, you never had to demonstrate?
I have several street fights, quite a few bar fights. You and I could definitely discuss them in private. I've put people in the hospital, not intentionally, just by being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I've got beaten up quite a few times by skinheads, white supremacists, things like that. They come in groups, 5, 6 people. There's no Bruce Lee story in the real life. There's no Jean-Claude Van Damme. You're going to beat up 8, 9 guys and come out unscathed. You know what I mean? I got hit with a bat. I broke the guy's ribs. They hit me with a bat, but he knocked me out and cracked my eye socket. So it's real when you're fighting, but it's how you respond to the altercation or the contact, if you will. When you get hit, how do you respond? How do you recover? And those are things that we teach you as well in martial arts, especially in VSK Jiu-Jitsu. There's no flawless victories. If somebody say they went through their whole life and they're 10th degree black belt and they never lost a fight, he's a liar. 100%. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But the best thing I can give you is to train train, and train. And based on repetition, constantly doing things, it'll get you used to being comfortable around different situations. I call it situation awareness. So you know what kind of altercation you're going to get into. You know how to avoid something if you can, but if you can't, you should know how to at least protect yourself to get yourself home safely. But yes, I've been in quite a few. I won more than I lost, though. I will say that. I did fight in terms. I got quite a few grand championships in sparring and kata weapons as well. But I'm still growing every day. You know, I'm on a weight loss journey now. I'm trying to get back to my fight weight so I can start fighting again. I did talk to Grandmaster Tony Young about fighting. He's like, "Oh, you want to come out of retirement?" Yeah, I do. You know, I want to get back in the ring because it's fun. I love competition. You know, it's something about you know, when people knock plane fighting, I don't believe in knocking it. You know, plane fighting is like speed fighting. You know, first if I touch you first, I touch you. You know, I get the point I want. But what if my touch first, I can increase my power by understanding how to execute and let it out versus withholding it. You know, I can. It's all about control. I can tap you or I can break your ribs. But if I hit you first, I hit you first. So that's why I really want to get back into the competition aspect because it's going to first keep me physically fit. And I get to hang out with the young guys. But the young guys do it. They run that thing, the 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. They run around, they do a lot. I want to get back in the ring. I really, really want to. So I'm on a weight loss journey. I want to get to the fight weight so I can fight again.
Beautiful. All praise to excellent people showing you love all across the country. Sister Mariah, I think this is her first time watching. She gives the greetings as well. Okay, we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, and we're gonna get into Sensei Richard's journey because he already taught me something I didn't know about him already. Okay, yes sir.
Yes sir.
Praise be to Allah. All right.
Yes sir.
A camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Dr. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon. If you would...
Perfect. All right, so I want to thank everyone for continuing to like, share, subscribe. Can't wait to put this on YouTube. We want to learn about your personal journey as well, but I want to stick with the martial arts for a second. As far as boxing and different types of martial arts, do you enjoy being a student in a different types of styles, like learning something for the first time, or do you prefer to stay in the styles where you already know it?
That's a trick question.
No, I'm saying like some people like sumo wrestling, like people try certain things. Is that your thing? Or you want to stay?
I'm learning a new system of Philippine martial arts. It's called smoking sticks. They're focusing on the scrimmage sticks and knife techniques. The Grandmaster that is teaching it comes from the snookers world, but he went to the Philippines to learn this and brought it back to the urban community. And I'm very excited his name is Grandmaster Terrell Richardson. I'm very excited that he took me as a student, accepted me, because I can only train with him online and through conversation. And that's very difficult because I can't really execute the way I want to execute because I can't see him. I can only see him on the video. You know what I'm saying? And it's not the same as being in person. Boxing, I really enjoy boxing. It's a brother in Atlanta that is showing me my foot movement and my execution. He's a very powerful puncher too. His name is Rahman Ali, one of our FOI brothers here in Atlanta. He has a boxing gym, a Fighter for Life boxing gym. Yes, and I was watching him hit the bag, and I'm like, wow, you know, got a lot of power to be a little bitty dude, because he's like 150, 160. And in martial arts, you learn it's called ki or chi energy. You learn how to push the energy through your body through your technique to destroy your opponent. But his chi was amazing. And
Yes, sir. Yes,
the way
sir.
he was getting it was also through the ground. Like we pull our energy from the ground as well, but he did it a little differently, more in a sliding motion. And I was able to learn that from him to increase my power. So yeah, I like to learn different things all the time, but I'm not trying to learn a whole new system, get in a whole new black belt. I'm not trying to do all that. That's a lot of information. When people say they got 15 different black belts, I think a lot of that stuff is not actual facts. It takes a lifetime to truly master one system. To say that you a great martial artist in one system, I can buy that. But if you're a great martial artist in 22 systems, I just can't follow that. I mean, you got that kind of time? If you were talking about true mastery, it takes a lifetime. A good 30, 35 years. And if you have time to do that times 22, you're the god in person.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I want to introduce myself to you, sir, as that brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, my next question is, when was the first time you heard the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
My first martial arts instructor, Grandmaster Larry Tanksen, took me to the mosque, took me to the FOI processing class because he was teaching the children at MUI. And I was like, hey, what's this, Tank? What's going on? He's like, oh, just teaching the pro at the mosque. I'm like, what's that? Come on with me. And we went to the mosque. And I kind of fell in love with it. I've never heard something that's so powerful and so true in my life until I heard the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And my family grew up in the church, and I've never, ever paid attention in church. It was so boring. It seemed like some fictitious, made-up story that this guy just died for our sins on the cross. We supposed to be perfect, but we still sinning, we still killing. His daddy was God, my daddy was my daddy. You know what I mean? So it was like just none of this was real to me. So until I heard that, I said, oh my God. And I was 15 years old because my parents had to sign a waiver for me to join the FOI back then. And your dad was the supreme captain at the time. And he was, very good at what he did to make boys become real men. We out there selling Final Call newspaper, talking to grown-ups and bringing them to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We brought in firefighters, police officers, doctors, lawyers. We converted pastors. We converted deacons. We talked to everybody about the teachings before I was an adult. It's just a thing to do. I fell in love with it. So I will always be grateful to Grandmaster Larry Tanksen for that introduction.
But I never knew that. Once again, apparently this is my first time talking to you because I'm just learning all kinds of stuff today or tonight. Shout out to him. He was my first martial arts teacher when I was in Chicago, and I used his techniques in real fights. And
yes, sir.
I bear witness to his style. Shout out to him and his students, and they gave me a love for commas and the weapons. And I was a fan. I was a fan of that. My experience. And shout out to Foursquare as well because we used to play that at everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how important has your spiritual journey been to being tied to your martial arts journey?
It kind of works hand in hand. That's why a lot of martial artists really focus on Buddhism or self-meditation. But what I got out of the Nation of Islam, that God is man himself. So now we have to develop and meditate and study self so we can understand it and become the God in our own personal universe. And that's very, very big, especially for Black men in the United States, to understand the power that we have in ourselves to be a better individual, a better human being, just a better person. I used to have conversations with my son all the time when he was 13, 14, 15, and 16. Based on the actions you do today, based on the deeds you do today, based on the chores that you do today, based on the way you respond to this particular situation, it's going to be what kind of man you become. So you have to ask yourself today, what kind of man do you want to be? Now you're going to work on those things so you can make sure you become that kind of person. And you get that in the FOI class. You do get it. You will get it in the dojo, because a lot of things when they say self-discipline is so you don't have to have anybody tell you how to do something. You're going to do it yourself. It's like self-control. Anything when it deals with self is better for you than some outside entity or person telling you, hey, you got to do this. Hey, you have to do that. No, yourself should tell you and talk to you and say, hey, buddy, you shouldn't steal that item. Put the item back on the shelf. Hey, you shouldn't steal that lady's PIN number and take her identity and take her money out of the bank. leave that stuff alone, because the self-accusing spirit is real. And martial arts and the Nation of Islam is very big on character building. And I think over time, a lot of dojos got away from character building. They got into give me the money. A lot of people that join different particular organizations or black groups, or for example, the Nation of Islam in like smaller cities and things like that, do they really focus on character building? We got to look at the character of the individual to make them better. We got to look at that. What made him do the things in his life to put him on the path that he's on? And how can we bring him back to God? You know what I'm saying? First, bring him back to himself, because he's definitely other than himself. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we got to focus on. And I've been working on that. I mean, once I could figure out how to break the subconscious of the black men to get us to trust each other, to do business with each other, we'll all be billionaires in the next couple of days. Once I get that trick, it's a lot of us out here that's financially set, but we just won't work with each other. We'll work with the other man and promote them versus promote each other. And that's just a whole nother topic.
Yes, sir. Okay, you're going deep. Sensei Richard, Muhammad, doing a great job. Sister Khadija says, praise be to Allah. She thanks Allah for your parents signing the waiver. Allah Akbar. Shout out to your parents. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, in your journey as an adult, and so sensei and teaching and grandfather and just a lot of things, have you ever faced fear? And if so, how have you overcome that fear?
Fear is real. Fear definitely exists. I remember Grandmaster Anthony was telling us he don't go to scary movies because he don't want the fear put in him. So you don't watch those movies. I love scary movies. I laugh through the whole thing. I love them. You know what I mean? But the way I overcome fear is when, for example, I used to fight. A lot of people in my division were always bigger than me, taller than me, faster than me. And you get like the little butterflies in your stomach. And what I do to overcome that, I just be me. You know what I mean? I know the training I've had. I know the repetition I put in the dojo. There's no way this guy can beat me in a ring. In a real life situation, if somebody had a knife, based on my training, I should be able to defuse it. And I wasn't a knife fight. I got my arm cut up real bad. And I can show you the cuts in person. But I won the fight. So, but remember, I told you there was no Jean-Claude Van Damme scenarios in real life. You're going to get cut in a knife fight. You're going to get hit upside the head with a bat. You know what I mean? You're going to get hit with the stick if the guy have a crowbar. So you are going to get hit. It might not be hard, but you will get touched. But it's how you respond and how you come out of it. So the way I overcome the fear, I really believe in the power of the God himself. And I look at everything and I go head on and just go forward. And I just eliminate the threat. I'm not fearless, but I definitely have very little of it. But when I was younger, I had a lot of fear. When I was in my 20s and my 30s and my 40s, I was always like fearful of, violent situations, police altercations, things that just happen in your life when you just living, and you just have to really overcome those things and just believe in yourself more and believe in the power of the God that you represent and believe. If you believe in that God and you believe in yourself, you're not going to have a lot of fear. Most of the fear I get or that I have when I'm into a fight is me fear of killing this dude and going to jail and paying the court costs and all that. That's my really fear. Like, damn, do I want to go through this? Pay 25 grand for an attorney, pay another 30 grand in court. Let me just walk away. So, I hope that answered the question.
I know it does answer the question. Give me a lot of clickbait to chop up to the real fear. People love hearing that kind of talk. Is it worth fighting versus when it's not worth fighting? What do you say to the younger version of yourself, like the 20-year-old you? When is it worth walking away versus not walking away? Like, how did you learn to master that?
If I can go back and, we make a lot of mistakes. And I'm going to tell you, I had a recent conversation with my son. And I talk to him a lot because he's 23 and I really want him to be better financially than myself, better morally than myself, just a better man than what I was. I want him 10 times better based on the teachings that I came up with that I was able to give him, that he should be 100 light years in the future, based on character. So man, if I go back to younger me, you can't have regrets. Let me just say that, because every mistake that we made growing up is who we are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we shouldn't have did that bad thing. But that bad thing that we did made us understand that it was bad. So it make us a better person so we won't commit that bad thing again. So, but we have to really grow from our mistakes, and we have to grow from the decisions and choices we make. And if you waddle and say, "Oh my God, woe is me, I shouldn't have," and have super regret, you'll never grow. And this life is about growth. You have to grow, and that's how you build a better God and self. It's by growing. If you stay a baby, you can never have your full expression of God. You have to grow.
Perfect. Yes, sir. Oh no, absolutely answer your question. Sensei Richard Muhammad / Sensei Richard. I mean, Minister Richard Muhammad teaching. He teaching for sure.
No, sir. Just Brother Richard. Brother Richard. Best title to have.
Good. Yes, sir. The Million Man March, is that your time period?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was the climate like leading up to it, and how did it personally impact you?
You know, I was 18 years old, maybe 17. It was a long day doing security post. I really didn't learn from it like I learned from it later. You know how it is in the Nation of Islam. You on post all day, you're tired, you need some water, ain't no rest, ain't no relief, and it's just, I got to make sure my area is great. But to stop the killing was to build up to the Million Man March. It showed me how Black men have a choice on their actions. You know, we try to blame everything for our failures. We do. We try to blame everyone and everything. But it's really not us. We can really stop that. We can stop pointing the finger at other people like, hey, I'm like this because the white man. Hey, I'm like this because my job. Hey, I'm like this because my parents. Hey, yeah. All the negative stuff in your life happened. How do you make it better? And that's going back to master yourself again. So that's why martial arts is very, very important, because it's going to teach you how to deal with yourself. And if you can deal with yourself, you can accomplish a lot of things and overcome a lot of things. The problem is we don't want to be honest with ourselves. Believe it or not, grown-ass Black men lie to themselves. They lie. We got to be honest with ourselves. You can lie to other people, but once you be honest with yourself, you know how to deal with yourself, and you can maneuver yourself in a way that you can make yourself better and really, truly reflect the God that you believe.
Sensei Richard dropping gems over here. He's teaching. I'm telling you for sure. Okay.
Praise be to Allah.
Okay, boom. Since Khadija says, super regret, never grow. I've seen that firsthand. So true. And we can't wait to put this on YouTube. All right. So my question for you is, being a grandfather, how has that impacted your life?
I can't wait till they go home, boy. The running, the flipping, the crying, the doo-doo diapers. Like, oh my God, what time y'all leaving? I need to take a nap. No, I love it, man. I get to see me in all three of them. Each one has my personality, my facial expressions, my spirit, if you will. You know what I mean? I can see myself living forever through my children, and through my grandchildren and through my great-grandchildren. It's really, truly a blessing to be a part of your children's and your grandchildren's lives. And you get to hold them, you get to look in their eyes, and they really admire you and look up to you because they trust you, because you're going to protect them. So you have to give them the world and the environment as they grow up that they can be loved and protected. And that's really our duty and our responsibility. So the Nation of Islam isn't necessary. You know what I mean? We need it to be what it should be, to protect our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, our great-great-great-grandchildren, because the brothers that was in the mosque back in the 90s, like myself, we're dinosaurs now. You know, people don't walk like we walk. They don't talk like we talk. They don't sit like we sit. They don't act the way we act. You know what I mean? So that old generation need to come back to the mosque to reignite the fire and the spirit that we had that made us warriors and gave us that drive to create a thing called the Million Man March again. You know what I'm saying? We need that fiery spirit, the quickening, you know. And your father is a very good driver of men, and he make, you know, me and your dad talked alone like years ago, and he used to always just tell me, always worry about what kind of brother you're going to be. If you're going to be a good brother or a bad brother, because the supreme wisdom will make you supreme at everything. But how you want to use it, you know? He's like, this superpower you got, how you going to use the superpower? And I always try to do it in the right way. And I made a lot of bad choices. You know, I don't have a perfect life. You know what I mean? I've been blessed, but I don't have a perfect life. And I grow every day. I learn every day. I'm constantly on the phone with Grandmaster Anthony. He's like my mentor, my father figure, my big brother. Um, like he kind of stepped into my personal life when my father died and gave me a lot of great fatherly advice on everything I do with my marriage, my children, martial arts, business, everything. So, you know, I mean, one thing I can really say is, man, praise be to Allah for all that stuff, you know.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. Okay, Sensei Richard. My sister Naima says, some like a family. And thank you, everyone who is
Hey,
showing
like
up
love.
all across the country. What advice would you give to future husbands? And based off of your, you told me before we went live, something else I didn't know. You've been married 28 years.
Whew,
What advice would you give to future husbands?
Well, I would tell you, future husbands and current sitting husbands, communication is the key to that thing keep going. If it's good communication or bad communication, you have to communicate. And you can't blame the failures of the marriage on each other. It's just something that happened that caused this situation to fail. And how do we fix it together as a team? You know what I mean? I'm talking about from economics to fidelity. All that's important and it's all based on communication. People step out of their marriages to talk to other people because you're not talking at home. So as your dad used to call it sister stress, right? So sister stress is talking to me, but my wife won't talk to me. Or brother stress is talking to my wife, and I'm not talking to my wife. So he's entertaining her and she's entertaining me, and that we all can entertain outside the house versus talking to each other. So everything starts with communication. A lot of marriages fail because finances. Um, I believe that credit is important. You should observe each other's credit before you get married and know what the credit status is before you take that journey. I work in auto finance. I've been in auto finance for 25 years. I understand how finances destroy families. Those are conversations you need to have. Like, I know brother look good, sister look good, but what kind of job do you have? What's your investment portfolio look like? What do your bank account looks like? Are you a check to check cat? Are you hustle man? You know what I mean? You're out there making it happen, and that's how you survive. And sister got to be willing to understand that if she's going to marry him, okay, this is what you're doing. This is how you live. Damn, let me make this choice because you got to communicate because she might not want that. She might want a different kind of security. Might want somebody that has a 9 to 5 that's making $75,000 every year on the clock check from the white man versus out there hustling. Communication is why all our marriages fail. I mean, I'm a strong believer in communication. I over communicate. You know what I mean? I keep talking. I'm trying to figure out how can I make this thing better because it's hard being married. It gets frustrating. You get depressed. You get lonely in your marriage. That's a real thing. You can be married and get lonely.
Mm.
It could be an absentee wife, an absentee husband. You know what I mean? Your wife used to cook all the time. Did she stop cooking? Why? What changed? You got to talk, man. And 28 years is probably, it was a hard journey, brother. We still in it. It's a fight. It's an everyday struggle. But goddamn, that's all I can say. You got to talk. And a lot of successful marriages is due to communication. Grandmaster Anthony's been married a long time. Your father's been married a long time. I'm sure he over communicated, when it was necessary to make the thing work. And I've been meaning to get with you and your dad also to get on financial consulting with the brothers to teach them in the FY class on how do you save money when you have a job, when you have a lot of bills? How do you pay yourself first? How do you rebuild your credit if your credit is destroyed? If you have great credit, how do you keep that credit working for you without destroying it? What is an investment portfolio? Why do you need one? Is it really necessary? Is a savings account more important? Do we have life insurance? That's the big one. You can create generational wealth by somebody passing away. I hate to say it, but we're gonna die anyway. So do I want a small policy on me or do I want a big policy on me? Do I want 10 grand so y'all just stick me in the ground? You know what I mean? Or do I want to give you a couple of meals so y'all ain't got to worry about nothing else no more? You know what I mean? That's how you got to have these conversations. Back to communicating. I hope that answered the question.
Absolutely. You teach it. You teach it. And my sister Naima sends agrees. Thank you to everyone who's watching People's Podcast and continues to like, share, subscribe to the People's Podcast. Now, in all of my years of being a student of martial arts, different type of senseis, teachers, grandmasters, CJOs, that type of format, everybody's either football, taking a knee, or being a sensei fireside chat. how important is that aspect to you as an instructor, as well as just the actual movement? How important is the method or the theology of the art?
I think the theories of your system is very important because it goes back to character building and development of self. So you can't have a martial arts system just kicking and punching. That's not going to make you a great martial artist. You have to study everything concerning the martial arts, the spiritual aspect, and that's going to make you a better martial artist, because then once you can understand your elements of the universe and the energy of the universe and how it works, you can pull that energy into the body and expel it into your opponent and destroy him faster. So you're not into a long, drawn out fight that's going to take forever. If you're in a situation that's more than 2-3 punches, you're in a real fight. You know what I mean? That thing is going to go, 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 go. I really, really want to build this school here in Atlanta. I am taking teenagers and adults. I'm not taking little 4-year-olds. I can recommend you to Tony Young's school. He has one of the best schools in the city for the babies. Because what I'm teaching you how to get home safe. So we're going to talk about algouging. We're going to talk about kicking in the groin. We're going to talk about taking a knife, sticking in between their ribs, turning the blade to crack the ribs. We're going to talk about those kind of conversations. So we're not going to teach 3-year-old babies that. You know, they can come to me when they get the basic foundation of a martial arts system and come to me and I can give them the rest. But the system has been proven to work in urban combat in the United States. So that's why we really, really, really pushing it.
Yes, sir. Okay. And once again, we want to make sure that we get our shirt. I'm gonna get my shirt. Yes. Make sure y'all get your shirt. Everybody get a shirt. The goal is $1,000, correct?
No, sir. We have 300 shirts left. We want to sell them all.
Oh, 300 shirts. Okay, I thought you said. I thought you. I don't know where I got the number. I thought you said
because we started with 1,000 shirts.
Okay.
So I have so many of martial artists that's not in my community supported. A lot of Asians, whites, and Hispanics. I love them brothers. They opened their doors to me. They opened their dojos. I went to their school. I taught small classes for them. I taught adult classes, women classes for them, and they bought my shirts. They support in Fight Club, you know, and I believe that in the Nation of Islam, in particularly, with the support and love of Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad, please support the fundraiser and get your shirt. You know, don't do it for me, do it for him, so we could represent him and make his name forever in the martial arts world, teaching VSK Jiu-Jitsu, because his system is not mine. I just represent. I'm not a senior black belt in his system. I'm only a 3rd dan. I am the 2nd highest ranking black belt in Larry Tanksen's system. The one over me is Kiyoshi Andre Lofton. He's an 8th dan. I'm a 7th. Larry Tanksen made me the fighter that I am. Grandmaster Anthony just tweaked it and taught me some urban combat. and that's what made me a very well-rounded fighter. I'm not the best fighter in the world, but I can hold it down. And I believe I have a lot to offer as an instructor. My class today was predominantly female. I had one male in my class today, Brother Amar, that was Captain Oliver's son here in Atlanta. He's a brown belt working on getting his black belt in VSK Jiu-Jitsu. I'm very excited to him to allow me to get him to that level. But we had 8 sisters in the class. MGT, where's my brothers? Where's my brothers? I mean, if it's an issue, if they think that I can't fight, we can always close the door, put the gloves on, and we can just have a conversation. And I'm very open, and you know how I am, Jeff. I'm very, very humble. I don't have an ego. I'm not arrogant, but I know for a fact that this system was approved to be taught to the believers of the Nation of Islam by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So if he approved this system, we should try to get to a dojo that's teaching it sooner than later. You know what I mean? And that's really what I got to say to that. I know it works. I taught a lot of free classes. My fees are not high at all. A lot of my students, when they come, they pay me when they can pay me. I want them to learn. You know what I mean? It's not about the money. I do very well in the car business. I've been in the car business 29 years. I don't have to teach karate for money. I can do it for free. I have to pay for the space that I rent. So if the students just want to pay for the space, I'll be there to teach. You know what I mean? So I don't have to have a mat fee at all. If they take care of the space, I'll be there to teach. So you can put that out there, Brother Joshua. Let them know. You get the space, Richard pop up.
Listen, yes, sir. And plus, you know, I don't think there's so many people who want to have a conversation with Sensei Richard. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody, let's all support Fight Club, support everything. We would need everybody ended up with broken ribs over a breakdown of
Oh, a
communication.
misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding. We don't need all that. Okay, so I have 2 more questions for you, then we're good to go on the People's Podcast. I want to thank everybody for watching. What type of music? No, because you're younger, so I can ask you specifically. What is your favorite album of all time?
Music album.
Yes, sir.
R. Kelly. The second album that he made. What is it? 2P1?
Play? Oh, TP1. You say he's
Toy,
on
yeah,
Play?
Toy Play 2, I think the second one he did.
Okay, so TP2?
Yeah, I like that. That was pretty smooth. My all-time favorite musician is Bob Marley. Reggae music.
Okay.
I always loved his music, his message behind his music. I'm still a stepper, Chicago stepper. I do step a lot. I've been looking for places here to step. I can't find nowhere to step down here, so I had to practice at home. That's kind of it. No music. I'm universal. I listen to country music. I listen to some heavy metal sometimes. I got Korn in my phone. I got Kenny Chesney in my phone. I got a little everybody. It's just what I'm vibing that day.
Excellent. Yes, sir. All right. And lastly, what would you like your legacy to be, sir?
A great helper to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's never been about me. It's always been about the man. Hopefully, inshallah, I'll be mentioned in history with the growth of the Nation of Islam and teaching martial arts to the believers and just being a great father, husband, grandfather, and human being.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely co-signing and vouching for our brother in my interaction with you. Very, anybody who knows anything about fighting, the quiet people and the humble people, just leave them alone. Just leave somebody real quiet. Nobody. Yeah, respectful and all that. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you can't fool me. You can't fool me.
Funny thing, I moved here in 2015, and the first time I did a demonstration is when I moved here in 2015 at the seminar back in Chicago the same year. And everybody I grew up with in the nation was like, damn, you a martial artist? I didn't know that. And you a master? I'm like, yeah, you didn't know that? Like, I never knew you trained. Why your belt that color? That means you're a master black belt. Oh my God. I'm like, oh, I never thought about that people never knew me as a martial artist. They knew me as the car salesman. Think about that. Everybody in Moss know me as selling cars. They don't know me as doing martial arts. But I've been in it since I started with Larry Tanksen in 1986. Started with Grandmaster Anthony in 1995. And I love it. I love martial arts. That's my life. We do it in my house all the time. My daughters, my grandchildren, my wife, we beat up on each other. I don't call it play fighting, but we definitely practice throwing each other around the house a lot.
Oh, praise to Allah. And you never saw me in the dojo when you was in Chicago?
I have.
Okay, I'm looking at the time.
Yeah. The minister's children was there. His daughters was there. I remember Colliday was in class with you. Quite a few. Brother Davey, I think is your age.
He's older than me. He's older than me.
Is he older?
Yeah. I went to school with his younger brother.
Okay. He's a master black belt in Larry Tanksen's dojo as well.
Yeah.
Very good brother. He's also in the car business. I think the car business is sticking.
I ain't know. Yeah, yes, shout him out. Shout his moms, his brothers, all of them.
Yeah.
And my family. All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the People's Podcast. We're going to promote the shirt. And also, I want to thank Allah for you and your sacrifice, Sensei Richard Muhammad, and the sacrifices of your family. And we want to let them know that we love them and show them love as well. Thank them for sharing you with us. And may Allah continue to bless you and them as well. I look forward to meeting your grandchildren, all that kind of stuff, and seeing the family just be happy. Sir. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off with the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching.